In the equity quadrant today, taking a look at the June Dow futures contract, which was the worst performer of the day. All four indices were up most of the day. The Dow was the weakest, but despite being the worst performer, value is outperforming. More on that in a minute. First, you had the low of 32,866. That was only down 20 basis points. 33,045 was the interim high, up about 0.5%, a little bit more than 0.5%. And we finished a little bit off of there, but still strong day for the Dow, not excessively strong. And it was the worst of the four indices that were all up. Now, value outperforming would affect the Dow and the Russell. The Dow was a little weaker today for very specific reasons. But when you look at the spread between value and growth, value is outperforming by the widest margin since the dot-com bubble. What do I mean by growth? Well, really lately growth has been big tech. So FANG stocks and some of the startups even. And then value would be smaller companies in the Russell that maybe are undervalued, and larger companies like your Boeings and like your airline stocks and things like that are normally value stocks. They're underpriced and they perform based on revenue growth and profit growth rather than potential growth in the future. They are undervalued versus where they are now. And that value metric has been working for the last few months, as you saw the Russell and the NASDAQ go into correction territory, but you did not see the Dow do that. And really, overall, the S&P hasn't done it either, and it's been the value part of the S&P. The S&P is really a mixed index. That has kind of held it up. Now, financials and energy have been the best performers, and that's part of the value story and the story for the Dow specifically, whereas the Russell went into correction and the Dow didn't. Financials are up 16.01% this year. We have Archegos, the family office that's basically gone out of business and have had their positions liquidated. That's been affecting the financials as this tiny little contagion makes its way through the banks and stops the banks from rallying anymore. The higher interest rate that the banks have seen have been a positive for that trade. And then energy, 29.4% this year. Best performer of the year. And that's been affected by the OPEC meeting that announces tomorrow, because we don't know what form that's going to take. We also don't know how much energy is going to be hit by the President Biden infrastructure plan, which is likely to lean more toward green energy. So today, those two sectors suffered a little bit versus tech. Tech has only done 2.36% this year. So clearly value is outperformed, but Archegos and OPEC, along with the infrastructure plan, are holding those two down today, which helped the Dow be the worst performer for the day. Lastly, I mentioned that infrastructure plan that's going to be talked about later this afternoon. The details of that plan may weigh on the Dow over the next couple of days as well. That's going to be a big factor going forward.